Gonna port this Dynamite 19 here. That's in my Jato. This engine's a bit of an interesting story. It's really old. I bought it in 2020. It's got probably about 8 gallons on it. It started to lose a little power, after like speed runs, after really beating on it when it would get up to like hot temps. So I could tell it was starting to lose some pinch. I re-pinched it using the Todd method, I guess I call it, with the hose clamp and the heat gun, and heating it and dropping it into cool water and doing it for like 20 seconds at a time until it felt right. And that actually gave it a little bit of power boost. It freshened it up. It brought it back like a few gallons in time, I would say. I recently ported the Mac 28 in my monster truck, and that came out pretty well. And I figured, why not? And I tried it on the 3.3 in my wife's T-Max. That turned out pretty well. I'm going to try it here. This is definitely not a guide or a tutorial or anything like that. I am not a porting expert. I am very much an amateur and a noob, and don't really know exactly what I'm doing. That said, I do have a basic understanding of how these engines function as an air pump, where, on the compression stroke, the piston is drawing a vacuum in the crankcase and sucking in the fresh air-fuel charge. And then on the power stroke, when the piston's coming down, it's pressurizing the crankcase and then moving that fresh air fuel charge around the cylinder through the ports into the cylinder and then into the combustion chamber and getting compressed and wash, rinse, repeat. So I understand that. So kind of what I'm doing is based off of that understanding and mocking, or I should say mimicking, what was on the P8, the SHP8 piston and sleeve that I have, because that thing comes from the factory with some fangs and stuff like that. So kind of clone that, and with the understanding it makes some sense. So first thing I'm going to do is heat it up, just so that way the sleeve isn't going to be so tight in the engine block. This has been apart not too long ago when I did that repinch, so hopefully it's not too tight. I'm going to do this right in the car. There's no reason why I shouldn't be able to pull the sleeve out and drop the sleeve back in and do this pretty quick and dirty, because that's how I roll. I try to get it up to like 220. The operating temperature. The thing that makes me nervous about this job is not knowing what I'm doing so much, but having a steady hand and not just dropping the ball. It's amazing. I could have a perfectly steady hand if I just feel like holding my hand out steady. But if I'm doing something really important, like using a Dremel or something like that, sometimes I'll try to hold it steady and it starts like trembling around. So I like to prop my hand up against something, kind of like the way a sniper would put their elbow on something to help stabilize. I gotta do that with my Dremel hand. Hopefully, though, I don't mess it up. Well, I think it's hot enough. I'm not going to cut this video or anything. I think I have all the tools I need out here to do this with relative efficiency. Hopefully be marginally successful. Alright, so jinx that. Now everything's going to go catastrophically wrong, because that's also how I roll. I'm superstitious. Well, I'm not always superstitious. Sometimes I'm medium-stitious. But sometimes I am superstitious. I guess it depends on really the topic and how things are going in my life at that particular point in time, and my last experience with that. Alright, head off. Let me get a paper towel, put this on something clean. And this is hot. This is the hot potato. Ow. Alright, let's get the head button off. Would be cool if I pulled the sleeve up with it. No such luck. Alright. Although I am not an expert, one thing I can say with certainty is never touch the inside of your sleeve with something metal. I know, that's ironic considering we're about to go at it with a Dremel. But take it out with like a zip tie, rotating the flywheel. I find typically between a zip tie and something like a chopstick or a little wooden dowel, you can get it done. Sometimes you just need some heat. And it seems like it's going to put up a fight. Turn this. A little more leverage on this flywheel. You know, doing this with the engine out is a lot easier because you can grab the flywheel. With the engine in the car, you could just get like your fingertip on it. So it's not as easy. This way. Well, it's coming up a bit. It's definitely slow to move though. Give it a little more heat. I guess I could use the pull start. That makes some sense, huh? I should probably pull out the zip tie that I chopped off in there. Even though it's just going into the exhaust port. That was stupid. That's really in there. Oh, I got that out at least. What a pain in the butt that was. There she blows. I wasn't touching the sleeve with the metal tools. This zip tie was kind of caught in the exhaust port, between the exhaust port and the block. I chopped it with the piston and couldn't pull it out. New move. But yeah, I wasn't pulling on the sleeve with that. Alright, so it's out. So let's figure out the plan of attack here. So I'm definitely not going to do the exhaust port. Look at that. That's already fanged. That's where I was going to fang. That's already done. So I would say all that's really left is to fang the boost port, the one on the front of the engine, and then maybe round off the edges here a little bit, round off the edges here a little bit, and round off the edges here on these, I believe they're called bypass ports a little bit. Fan it up. Spray it down with WD-40 so it's clean, kind of lubricated. Alright, now it's time to hopefully not mess this up. So the Dremel bit I use is shaped like this, and so if you just push in more, this way, it's naturally going to have that fang shape where it's thicker towards the top and thinner towards the bottom. It just takes a real steady hand, which is kind of a challenge. So I try to kind of prop it up and get things situated in a way where I can stabilize my hands. You know, kind of like this. That should work. I'm gonna go on like medium speed, like maybe 6. One down. One to go. Round off the edge a little. Round off this edge a little. Trying not to really remove material, just break the rough edge. My dog is nervous. Alright, now I'm going to smooth this out. Finer bit. A bit finer of a bit. Do a wee bit of smoothing. I think we're done. We'll clean this up, spray it down, wipe it off, hit it with the air compressor. Take a look. Hopefully I can get the camera to focus. I'm gonna hit this with a piece of Scotch-Brite. It's not so hard to slide in. Yeah, I'm not trying to remove material, just get rid of whatever varnishing layers are on there. Pull this off. Alright, let's take a look. Well, they're not perfectly symmetrical, but I guess good enough. The rounding of the edges worked out alright. really not expecting too much of an improvement because, quite frankly, this is, in my opinion, my humble opinion, this is a pretty nice sleeve. It's a lot of ports. They're pretty nice. They're already fangs. You can't really expect too much of an improvement from that, but maybe we'll get a little bit. We'll see. Alright. Lubricate this. This is going to be a little bit more challenging than usual. Normally it's pretty easy to flop the piston around while twisting the engine around in the air. Now we're doing it in the car, but I'm sure it can be done. The part that's making it tricky is the pull start, because the one-way bearing only lets the engine turn one way, obviously. Let's try. Apparently this isn't as easy as I thought it would be. Bamboozled here. Well, would you look at that? Alright, let's get this. I don't know, I'm working on it all the way over there now. Let's get this down. Hooked, right? Clean it up. A drop of oil Ruski. Alright. Is our head button back on? Does this one have a dot? No, there's no dot. Sometimes they have a dot, which means they have to face another dot for the indexing pin, but this one does not. Shims are there. Cool beans. Throw this guy back on. Oh yeah. Come on. These head bolts over time I like to seize up, so I like to just kind of coat them in WD-40. It's not the best thing in the world, but I find it just makes it a little easier the next time you need to take it apart. There's thread stuck in there for some reason. Alright. I just pick up. Magnetic bits are kind of awesome and terrible because they also hold metal, which you don't always want, like when you're doing engine work. I'm not trying to hydrolock the thing, I just want it to be where the bolts are kind of, you know, wet, so to say. How did I have this head oriented? I think I was like that. No, I was like this. No, because the wheelies would be like that. But let's go like this. Or should we go like that? No, I'm going to go like this today. Apparently it's like a hairstyle. always like to tighten them all just until they touch, then back them up like a quarter turn. Then go around until they all touch, and then gradually crisscross and pull them down. Just like a tire, but even more carefully. The head bolts on pretty much every nitro engine are always going to be outside the mating surface of the head button and the cooling head, so it's really easy for it to want to jar. So it's extra important to bring it down even more so than like a car tire or any other thing that you would be tightening in a crisscross pattern. I'm torquing to approximately 2 wrist hairs past 12 o'clock. Alright, let's clear things up a little bit and do a quick test fire. Heat it up first. Of course, I have any gas in here? Not much. Let it go. Heat it up a bit. Hopefully I didn't break it. I can't imagine it being worse, so hopefully there's some sort of improvement. We shall see. Let's see how it runs. It's late Friday night. Hopefully I can get it out this weekend. Saturday's going to be a busy day, but Sunday there should be the time, and it looks like the weather will permit too.